Basically, this is my 4th time recording this video because I kept messing up everything. I just talk really slow, and when I was trying to edit my last video, it just made no sense. So today I'm making a tutorial on how to use the airbrush tool in Animal Jam. Why is the airbrush tool important? You can create more diverse textures and colors. Also, you can make your art appear to have a softer look even without using color mixture. The thing is with the airbrush tool is that it allows you to have opacity, and it also allows for you to make mix colors. Okay, first of all, we'll just go through the brush sizes real quick. We have 6 brush sizes. This is just regular brush, right? I'm just gonna leave them right here so you can look at the difference between these ones. Oh my god, I didn't realize how big some of these brushes were. I'm not gonna lie. So there's the regular paintbrush compared to the airbrush tool. See how this is lighter? Even though I have the same thing. We'll go over it. If you have more slow controlled movements, the airbrush tool will be darker. As you can see, it is faded. When you move it like really fast, it's very splotchy. So you have to have slow controlled movements. I know this is so boring. You have to layer it too. When it comes to smallest brush, with the smallest brush, eventually you can get it very opaque, but you have to keep going over it over and over again. You need a lot of layering with the smallest brush, and you also need slow and controlled movements to have it more opaque like it is right there. And also, even with the bigger sizes, if you move it too fast, it can come out splotchy versus the slow and controlled movements. The thing is, you can use both of these for different things. One isn't inherently better than the other. This is better for line art, solid colors. This one isn't bad for like mixing and texture. Like, you can definitely use this for some kind of texture or creating some illusions when drawing. Okay, next. One thing to mention is the colors that show up. When you use the airbrush, it shows up differently. This is kind of a darker color versus the paintbrush. So automatically, just by using it, it's kind of a darker color. You can see this more clear with white, how it will slightly come up as a gray. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but if you use it, you can see I'm using the same white, but it comes up more as a gray. Now, since we have this, we can move on to the next point. Okay, now that we understand what the airbrush tool is and its basic differences from the paint tool, we can move on to why it's unique in the art program. Because AJ Art Studio lacks desaturated colors, these are the only desaturated colors. There's no, yeah. Because AJ Art Studio lacks desaturated colors in the color picker, the only way to make them is by layering your colors with the airbrush tool. So, for example, yes, we can get darker purples or lighter purples, but the thing is, this isn't desaturated though. It's just a darker version of the color. So to get a desaturated purple, we would, for example, take the purple. Also, this is another important thing, is because the airbrush tool has opacity, we can layer colors. So for example, you want a more desaturated purple, well, you can even take it like lighter than that or whatever. Now you can take a black or a gray. I'm not sure what's better, but now you have a desaturated purple or like a purplish gray. If you want to use the smudge tool, okay, well, we might have to get to that in a second. But now you can have a desaturated purple. Not only does this allow for you to create desaturated colors, but you can mix colors and layer colors to your liking, even allowing you to create kind of a multiply layer. If you use a specific color for the base of your art, you can create a more cohesive color scheme. So for example, like we can do a blue for this one. We can do a green right here. We can do a red. maybe none of this will like make sense, but like a brownish red. Now when we put the purple, even if we put it all the way on here and then desaturate it, oh god. By the way, you can keep layering it. So if you don't like the way it's looking, you can just keep layering and going over it. And then when you smudge it, I don't know how this is gonna go. Your colors, the way you layer it, now you can have a bluish color that in the background that you're building off of. Then for green, it can just create the different ways your colors can show up and how they would mix on the different backgrounds. This might be more of a color theory thing than specific to the airbrush tool, but I don't know, colors look different and they'll mix different on top of other colors. This is another thing, it's way easier to draw skin tones. Let's just pretend that's like a face or something. You can add like a little bit of blue, yellow, a grayish kind of color, and then you just kind of like, you can keep layering it and then smudging. Whatever colors you use underneath, it will become like a part of it. You just keep layering the colors over and over until you get one that you like. There's just so much, like, I think this might just be like a color theory thing, I'm not sure. I'm just going to draw a character real quick. I can talk through drawing an actual character. It's just going to be a quick drawing. I'm going to use this light blue to sketch it out with. And it's not going to be anything too difficult. Maybe with the hair it can be a little difficult, but we'll just pretend this is a character that someone asked me to draw. I'll put the eyes and everything. What you want to do is you can start with a darker background or a lighter background. I mean, the lighter it is, the lighter your drawing is in general. Otherwise, the really light colors will look strange on a really dark background. So we would just layer the skin like this. It's okay if it gets in the hair and stuff. You just want to go all over on your thing. And then we could add like a little bit of blue to like the bottom of the face. I don't know why, but it just it kind of looks nice when you do that. And then, you know, like pinks and stuff. And I know this looks like, oh my god, how does that even mix? But then you just go back and layer over with the your base color. You can layer over this, and then you just get the lightest. You can get like a light kind of color, and then you can just mix. You can mix the colors a little bit too. Also, a little tip is that the smudge tool will always like pick up the lightest color. So I don't know, it might be better to use that information how you will. I don't know. Sometimes the smudge tool can be even used to just like make like lighting, because it only picks up the lightest, so you can use it in some creative ways. Honestly, you can layer all kinds of colors on here. I'm just like, you can even like do like different kinds of blues and stuff. Like, you can really just go at it. And then, I mean, you can make it like gray. I want it more gray. Add the gray. It's just all about layering the colors. You want it to be more and like, you can take like a darker color and then kind of try to mix it to create contrast and stuff. I know this just looks like a bunch of blobs, but I'm trying to do this as fast as I can too, so I can just kind of talk over it. You can even just use the flat color and then go over it with the different blues and stuff. You can even add like pinks and stuff, it doesn't matter. You can have like, it's just to show like you can have like really like cool effects with this. And then, yeah, if you make hair, you can see the smudge tool always picks up like the lightest color. So yeah, normally I would like do the eyes like with like a light blue or a white, and then your sketch will most likely just be drawn over, but that doesn't mean like you should just like totally not do a sketch. I mean, you could do just not a sketch, cause it's fine. You can also make a darker color. See how it kind of made like a ring around the eye because I like drew beneath it. It's just all about layering. You're just creating your own layers. And then for this tool, that's so dark, but normally I wouldn't use black on the thing. I usually would pick like a really dark blue or something, because I feel like it just fades nicer. You can even take the darker colors and just smudge it into the painting to get different effects. That's the nice part of the smudge tool, is you can just like, you can even smudge things out of existence like that. It just depends. Now this is just like, I guess I'm doing just kind of like my art style, but seriously, if you want to, you can just make rainbow eyes. I don't know. Again, I don't know, you could take like an orange or something, just kind of a darker color, multiple different colors, go over with the base, smudge it. I usually like using like a red or something for shading, or like a pink, I guess. Whatever you like to draw with. It's literally just about layering. That's all it is about, and I don't know how to describe it. Okay. Like, see, you can just use the smudge tool to just keep working at it. These very light lines, you can just use the smudge tool. It looks nice. This is like a really creepy eye, I'm not gonna lie, but and you can even just, I think, smudge tool these too. Yep. Want like a lighter look, just use the smudge tool. The smudge tool, more and more of the smudge tool. You can just use black or gray too to make it darker, obviously. You can just kind of use a mix of everything. Have as vibrant or as unvibrant as you want. This is just like a character, but see, you can just create different things. And if you're like following, if you do more like realistic art, you want to have a reference of what you're drawing, and then you would draw while looking at the reference. So if I wanted to draw a fox like very realistic, then I would stare at the picture of the fox while drawing it. You can even make a graph for realistic animals. but yeah. If you don't like these weird little lines, you can also, there's also like bigger ones too that kind of, you know, sometimes I'll use the smudge tool to like block out lighting too, because it just kind of automatically does that. I'm sure if I worked long enough on this, it would come out looking decent. But you just carve your character out. Basically, you can just do all kinds of stuff. Don't be afraid to like draw over what you've done. Remember to save your progress as you go, because Animal Jam will just log out at any minute sometimes, so you can just do a lot of cool things with the airbrush and the smudge tool, so yeah. I just don't know how to describe this. You just keep layering and you keep working at it until you get something you like. If you want to know about like texture, again, if it's a specific texture, you'd want to look at a picture of it while drawing it. So if I had a picture of grass that I wanted to draw, then I would get a picture of grass and then I would draw it from the picture. I just really recommend using references when drawing. It's very important. If you're just doing some kind of anime art, I mean, it's fine that, you know, this kind of stuff just comes from my brain. But if it comes to like the nature stuff, it's always good to have some kind of picture to look back at and to keep working on. If you wanted to make something like, I don't know, like a fuzzy coat or something, I mean, I'm not really looking at a fuzzy coat right now, but I'm just trying to think about different textures that you could possibly like make. One of the things is you can layer it, right? And then you can, sometimes with fuzzy coats, you can just kind of make these like little, I recommend just practicing a lot with it, because a lot of my older stuff just looks like garbage. See, you can kind of make like fuzzy texture with this. And then if you want it to be a little bit more detailed, you can even take the fact that with this brush you can just kind of go around it and stuff. You can create texture like that too. I don't know how good this is, but you can even just go up and down, the up and down motion, because it creates kind of like this like, you can do this with a mouse too, I'm not kidding you. Because it creates this like little effect. You can definitely add that to your drawings to create some kind of visual information, some kind of texture. If you were like drawing, you can also do it with like this one, you just go really fast. This one's probably better for like things like the fuzzy coat. You can just keep layering. Don't forget, you can use multiple types of brushes. You can use different sizes. There's just a lot of things that you could do and you can practice with. See, you can make textures by just, you know, it's just layering. It's focusing on the contrast of it, like the general shape of things. This probably makes no, I don't know, maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't, but yeah. Even if you mess up and you want to add like more, you can always just kind of try to add it, but I just recommend trying to work in layers. Like whatever is under this, you would want to work on it first, and then you would work on the part that's, you know, if this looks too harsh, you can also just like lightly tap with your base color, so that way it can kind of integrate more, it won't look so harsh. You can make more of like an ombre kind of effect. But yeah, anyways, I think that's it. I don't really know what else I can say about it. If you guys have any more questions, or you want to know, or you want me to make like a part 2 or something with your new questions, then please just leave a bunch of comments. Maybe I can go over specific things. But this is more of like a general kind of video. So yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and see you next time.